Hello once again, it's Risky Business, and today, what is on my mind? Well, Empire LARP is on my mind. So, just for reference, I am a LARPer. I do LARP occasionally, and mostly 4 times a year, but unfortunately, given the current circumstances, we can't exactly go LARPing at the moment, which is a bit disappointing. And the LARP I go to is Empire LARP. Now, just as a breakdown before any of those who don't understand what LARP is, LARP stands for Live Action Roleplay. Means that you go to basically an event, you get to dress up as a character, and you act out as if you were that character in the setting. It is very fun. It's much like, the best way to describe it is a very physical way of playing Dungeons and Dragons. If you've never really thought about doing LARPing, or if you've only ever seen LARPing in sort of other media, which makes it seem a bit awkward, or, you know, I believe there's a few episodes, or an episode or two, or the entire premise of the South Park game, the original South Park game, was based on the fact that they were LARPing out a scenario. Now, Empire LARP in specific is one of the biggest LARPs in the UK. I think at the moment it is now the biggest festival LARP in the UK as of 2019. And one of the funny facts about it is that one of the nations has, if it was on its own, was would be the 3rd largest LARP in the UK, and it pulls around over 2,000 people per event. I'm pretty sure the statistics are higher now, but unfortunately, without that information, it would be difficult to tell. So, what is Empire? So the background for the entire premise is that you are a citizen, or a hero technically, of the Empire. This Empire mainly consists of humans, but there is also a faction of orcs inside there, and you are basically, it's an us against the world scenario. And it is very, very interesting to play. There's a lot of stuff. I mean, this is the page that we're on currently, is just the initial page to the company called Profound Decisions, who actually run the game. Very good company. They run it extremely well with high quality roleplay from their NPCs, and their set dressing, character design, everything is flawless. You can't really knock Profound Decisions in what they do. But this is just the main page of the website. Obviously gives a breakdown. It was originally a new Fest LARP. It has been out for a few years now. But it's the premise of it is that the Emperor Brutus is dead and the Empire was in turmoil. As all powers wax and wane, the Empire calls its heroes to serve to the role to the Senate, to command her armies, direct her magic, and guard her soul. Will you seek the crown? So one of the premises of this game is that the position of the Emperor or Empress, also known as Imperatrix, in the system is open, and on that basis you can actually physically run for it. If you were able to get enough backing from everyone else, you would have the ability to go out and become the Imperatrix Emperor of the system, with a lot of caveats attached to it. But you do have that sort of flexibility and freedom to basically go to this event and do what you want. Now, backdrop to it was formed of 9 culturally diverse nations. I believe the Imperial Orcs came along and made it 10. However, that you could be wrong. My knowledge of the game is slightly sketchy now that the sort of months have gone on without being able to play the game. I haven't been able to look at the wiki. I haven't been able to sort of engage and utilize that knowledge that I have ever done, and going forward, it is started slightly, as it said in the sort of in there, it is wax and wanes from me. So going forward, so as a sort of start beginner, very good game, very interesting, very hard, very not hard to play. Well, it depends on what area you go into, but it could be hard, but very, very, very unique, I believe, in its setting, and just very, very good at providing the ambiance and sort of society that the game plays into. Now, if you realistically want to have a look into how diverse this game is, I'm going to quickly show you just a premise of the page for the wiki. Now, this is a fully detailed wiki, which I might delve into another time, into more specific areas. But this wiki is huge. So specifically, if you go on the game, for instance, which you've now lost, you can see that it gives an overview of the entire setting in just these few chapters alone, including what the look and feel of the game is, what the nations of the Empire are, what is the Senate, what is the Synod, what is the Military Council, Conclave, Boar's Throne, etc., which you've all got on that list down the side by here. Now, Why do I like playing this game is probably another good sort of setting that we can go into, and I'll back off to the main page now of the wiki just to give a further overview of the fact that it's sort of massive, is these are just main holding areas for the subsections of points and plots and interesting information and information you'd need to know for playing this. Why we'll tail back onto what I originally just said before I decided to tangent myself. Why do I like playing Empire? So, firstly, disclosure to any people who are listening who go to Empire, I am a Navari, unfortunately, as according to some, and I love the brief of my nation. So, we go on nations, for instance, just to highlight them all. You've got you've got 10 nations, so I was correct, but all these nations have a unique setting. They have a unique backstory to the nation themselves. They have a unique way of playing. They have a unique way of how the characters look and feel. And in some cases, there are crossovers, i.e. between, for instance, the Marches and the Dawn, in terms of how their histories were linked. But their look, their feel is completely different to one another, and by doing so you create a massively diverse set of characters in the system, or in the game, and in the world itself, who you can very easily then go interact with should you have the need or want to do so. So, for instance, as a Navari myself, I could go, for instance, into the Urazeni camp and interact with people from Urizen, which is the nation which is shown next to the Navarre, for instance, and there's nothing realistically stopping me from doing so. On top of that, you then factor in that you've got the complex mesh and soup of individual nations individuals from these nations who are then going around talking to each other, and you get the conflicts from international conflict, where there's a principle in, say, the League that someone in the Marches dislikes, and they disrespect it, or they say something bad about it, and it ends up causing a drama between not only just two people not just between two people, between two people of two different nations, who can then pull in other people from their own nation to support them, until you have then provided a dispute between two of the nations who actually turn up to play. And you've basically created a system there that allows the players to sort of seek out their own sort of consequences for their own actions. What is going to happen as a result of me antagonizing another nation? What am I going to get from, per se, performing a con on people of other nations? Because the setting is very open to how you can go around, con people out of money, perform scams, do hustles, for instance, or you can get away with stealing IC resources, for instance, to a degree wherein if it's a sort of physical item you've stolen, you do have to return the item back to the person, but the context of if it were a magical item, you would steal the magical element from it, and there's a difference to that. And it's just all these points, all these little niggling points that would then suddenly coalesce into this massive game where you're no longer just some person in a field dressed up in what some people would call extreme fancy dress, and you are your character in a setting with a lot of people from your own nation who you can go and support, and you can have your own dramas in your own nation, because as a Navari, I understand that there's a lot of drama in my own nation, and you just enjoy the fact that there is that drama, because it provides you with a sense of what is this point I'm disputing? Am I right? Of course I'm right in this point. This person has to be wrong. You end up causing so much sort of interpersonal conflict that then gets resolved, and you find yourself, and your character has developed, and sometimes you even feel that you've had a cathartic moment and that you yourself have realized of something that's betterment for you. And there's no other experience like a good LARP, which is why it sort of came to my attention. I wanted to publicize this LARP itself. Now, obviously, this is not really a sort of what is in the setting, what is this, apart from the generic sort of introduction I gave a few minutes ago. There's nothing really contextual I've brought to the table other than the fact I've given some of my own experience, maybe meshed in with the just very basic ideas that I've given to you. And it may be something further down the line that I will look to review certain elements of Empire in more detail, perhaps the system mechanics, and explain why I like the system mechanics, explain why I like the look and feel of my own nation or an individual nation, or give a synopsis on the nations, for instance, for those people who may be interested in learning more, because I feel that the information you can see on the page is overwhelming, for instance, because say, for instance, I went on my own page, you probably hear that lovely click then, you have all this information, and this is only just a brief introductory page to my own nation of the Navarre. You then have the core brief, which is the things you really, really should know, and then you have the additional history, which is what you should really know. And then you got to specify on your own areas that you would decide you want to go focus into, whether or not you wanted to be a magic user and become what is called a Vate inside the Navarre, or just a mage or an Imperial Battle Mage, or if you wanted to become a frontline fighter, if you wanted to become a skirmisher, if you wanted to become a healer. There are possibilities of what you want to do at the system, and nigh on endless to the degree that you can actually find something you want to do in it. You could be an information broker. You could probably be a criminal. I don't know many criminals, but then again, I don't think many criminals want to be caught, which is probably a difference. You can be a religious cleric. You can be a priest, which is probably much the same thing, maybe different connotations. Every nation has its own sort of archetypes, which means that you could be one thing in one nation is completely different in another nation, how people see it and how people respect it, or how people interact with that whole archetype system, which the system brings, wherein you select sort of a general band of things you stick into, has brought a lot of roleplay, especially into my personal experience. But further to that, many other people have experienced many other better things that I haven't yet experienced. So there's a lot of experiences I have yet to see in this event. Now, I'm hopefully going to go to the next event, whenever it is. It is a possibility that, as of time of recording, the next and last event of this year, subject to whether or not it is sort of going forward, would be in September of 2020. Hopefully it will be there. Otherwise, it may be a very, very long dark, as we like to call it, between the events until 2021. But I would more than likely attend a player event, which is a small event, should they come up. Now, I don't know if you guys want to learn more about this, or if you guys want to have a better overview or better explanation, because unfortunately this has been a bit of a rambling session between me just deciding to want to make a small video on Empire or not. So if you feel that you want to know anything specific about Empire, if you don't understand a specific point and want a player who's been there for a while, I think this is going on my 4th or 5th year of playing the event and playing the system, and you just want someone to give an explanation of a certain point, I'm more than happy to do so. Just feel free to pop a comment in the description. Pop a comment in the description. I wish you could do that. Pop a comment in the sort of comments below. What do you want to see? Is there anything specific you want advice on? Do you realistically want to have a full breakdown of certain nations? Is there any sort of mechanic that you want me to try and explain in better words that may not be easily readable? Choice is yours. However, this is the end of the video. Unfortunately, I have rambled on long enough, so I guess again, you've been listening to The Risky Business. If you do like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Obviously, I'm shilling out as per usual, but if not, take care, have a good day. I'll probably speak to you another time. Thank you.